Hello students, this is the part 2 video for chapter number 6 from civics. So in the last video we have ended over here where the advocate Roy was able to prove that the money what was being received in the envelope, the 10,000 rupees, that would be the earning of Sushil and Shanti. That she was able to prove that was the money what they both together have earned. So the next date what they got in the court, that is 14/5/2007. As the trial was nearing completion, Sushil learned that Inspector Sharma has busted a gang of young men and have been stealing jewelry from Shinde neighborhood. Some of Mrs. Shinde's son friend are part of this gang. Mrs. Shinde's chain has been found on them. Sushil tells about this to Advocate Roy. Advocate Roy now calls Inspector Sharma as defense witness. So here, when they came to court, the advocate Roy was having important information that was being informed by the Sushil, because he came to know that one of the inspector, and his name is Sharma, he has busted a gang of young men, and they used to steal jewelries from the neighborhood of the Mr. and Mrs. Shinde. So this was the gang of young men, and a few of the men who were involved in this gang are the friends of Mrs. Shinde's son. So Sushil informed all these things to the Advocate Roy, and because of the same reason, Advocate Roy calls Inspector Sharma as a defense witnesses. So here she start asking question to Miss Inspector Sharma that can you can he show and tell about what he has found. So he was informing to to Advocate Roy and to the court that here is a chain what has been identified by Mrs. Shinde, that this chain is of hers, and the busted boys by Mr. Sharma, he has found the same chain with them. So these boys have also admitted that they have stolen the chain. So the blame to Shanti, what Mrs. Shinde was have done, that was completely wrong, and she was innocent. From this point of witness only they could understand. So the next date what they got, that was 15/7/2007. So the next date what they got, that was 15/7/2007. The judge hears the testimony of all the witnesses, that is from the defense side and those who have complained. After the testimony of Inspector Sharma, Advocate Roy argues before the judge that it has now been established that Shanti is innocent and should be acquitted, as all the proof was saying that the Shanti was innocent. So here Advocate Roy has requested judge to give a fair judgment, as Shanti is innocent and should be acquitted. Shanti, the judge in reply said that Shanti, you hereby are is acquitted of the charge of theft. The police will hand over to you the 10,000 rupees that had been sealed. In my written judgment, I have made it point that to highlight S.I. Rao role in conducting such a shoddy investigation that made you spend time in jail. So you can also understand from 2006 it was being started, and almost it took more than 1 year to complete the case. And who was facing all the burden over here, that was Shanti, and her brother, that was Sushil. But judge was also disappointed by the work of the S.I. Rao, because it was completely wrong procedure what he has followed. So he will also been warned by the judge to take a proper investigation, and as he has not taken it in proper way. So from the above incident you can see that the four key players in the criminal justice systems are the police, because the FIR are registered or lodged to the police station, the public prosecutor, by for whom the case was being fought, and the defense lawyer for the defended person, for defending a person who is considered an accused, and the last role, that is judge, that the judgment which is been given by the judges. You have seen the roles each of them played in the above case. Now let us try to understand their roles in more generally. So in detail we haven't learned. We came to know that these are the four persons or four major role played when the case is being investigated or represented in the court. First is police, second is public prosecutor, in defense there would be a defense lawyer, and the last one is judge. So let us understand in detail about their role. Now, what is the role of the police in the investigation of a crime? So, whatever the investigation done by the SI Rao, whether it is correct or not, the proper procedure of the police, that we are going to learn from this paragraph. So, one important function of the police is to investigate any complaint about the commission of a crime. An investigation includes recording statement of witness and collecting different kinds of evidences. On the basis of the investigation, the police are required to form an opinion. If the police think that the evidences points to guilt of the accused person, then they file a charge sheet in court. As stated at the beginning of this chapter, it is not the job of a police to decide whether a person is guilty or innocent. That is for the judge to decide. So in unit 2 also you have read about the rule of law, which means that everyone is subject to the law of the land. This includes police also. Therefore police investigation always have to be conducted in accordance with the law and with full respect for human rights. The Supreme Court has laid down guidelines that police must follow at the time of arrest, detention, and interrogation. The police are not allowed to torture or beat or shoot anyone during investigation. They cannot inflict any form of punishment on a person even for a petty offenses. So the article also we have read, that is Article 22 of the Constitution and the criminal law guarantees to every arrested person the following fundamental rights. So every person is having right, whether the person is accused or whether the person is innocent. So what does the Article 22 says of Constitution? That the right to be informed at the time of arrest of the offense for what the person is being arrested. So as we read that police, what they have to do, they have to investigate properly, they have to collect the evidences, they have to interrogate the person who is being accused. Everything has been done, and if the police thinks that the person is guilty, then only he is going to write down a charge sheet and it is going to be represented in the court. So here the right to information, whatever the charge sheet he has prepared, it has to be given to the person who is being arrested. So he should also know what kind of charges was applied on him. So that from these charge sheets only the arrested person will get the information. Now the right to be presented to before a magistrate within 24 hours of arrest. So as the police has arrested and charge sheet has been registered or lodged, now the person has to be represented in front of magistrate within 24 hours. So this is compulsory again. The right not to be ill-treated or tortured during the arrest or in the custody. So the police are not allowed to torture or to ill-treat, means they cannot even humiliate or insult the person during the person when he is arrested or when he is in custody. So they were not allowed to ill-treat or to beat them. So they are not allowed to torture them. Confession made in police custody cannot be used as evidence against the accused. So here whatever confession was being made by the arrested person in front of police, this is not taken in count when they are being represented in the court. Again they have to give away the statement as an innocent or as an guilty, whatever they feel so. So the statement is re-recorded in front of the judge and the lawyers and number of people who are sitting over there. So the statement what they have given or the confession whatever they have given in front of police, that is not being taken as evidences or that is not being counted. A boy under 15 years of age and woman cannot be called to the police station only for questioning. So under the age of 15, whether in both the gender like male and female, they are not allowed to bring in police station for questioning. So under the age of 15 any person is found accused or guilty, then there should be parents presented in front of along with them, and mainly the questioning was being done at the home itself. They are not asked or they are not brought to the police station for questioning them. Now, why do you think there is a rule of that confession made during police custody cannot be used as evidences against the accused? Now, what would be the reason? Because in some cases, though here the law mentions that the Article 2 mentions that the police cannot ill-treat or cannot torture the person, but many a time in many of the cases, the persons are being threatened like dhamki dena to the person in the jail itself, and even they are being tortured and they are constantly beaten. So they give away such kind of statement that goes against themselves only. So the confession given in the custody is not being counted. Here you can see the extracted portion. The Supreme Court of India has laid down specific requirement and procedure that the police and the other agencies have to follow for the arrest, detention and interrogation of any person. These are known as D.K. Basu guidelines, and some of these includes: the police official who carry out the arrest or interrogation should wear clear, accurate and visible identification and name tags with their designation. It means the police officer who is going to arrest the person, he should wear a visible identification, the name should be clearly written on the tags, and even the designation should be mentioned. So the person who is being arrested could identify, or later on if it is needed, then he can inform the other people about the person who has arrested him or her. A memo of arrest should be prepared at the time of arrest and should include the time and date of arrest. It should also be attested by at least one witness who could include a family member of the person arrested. The arrest memo should be countersigned by the person arrested. So whenever the person is being arrested, a memo has to be prepared by the police. It means the time, date, and one witness to prove that he was being arrested in that particular time and date, and this person could be from his family member itself. So this from this memo they can even write down the charge sheet, the detailed information about the person in the charge sheet. And again the memo should have or should be countersigned by the person who is being arrested. So whatever the thing is being written in the memo, the arrested person should also know, and because for same reason he is signing out the thing, that the thing whatever being written on that memo is totally correct. The person arrested, detained or being interrogated has right to inform a relative, friend or well-wisher. If the person is being arrested alone, if there is no one in surrounding, then he can inform, he is having every right to inform to his relative or any of the friend, and as well as any of the well-wisher. When a friend or relative lives outside the district, the time, place of arrested and venue of custody must be notified by the police within 8 to 12 hours after the arrest. So, if the friend or relative is outside of the district, then everything has to be mentioned as in memo we have already read, and within 8 to 12 hours the friends or the relatives should be informed by the police itself. So this is the guidelines which the police officers has to follow whenever they are arresting any of the culprit or the accused person. Now let us return to the story of Shanti and answer the following questions. Here the first one is, when Shanti was arrested for theft, S.I. Rao also kept her brother Sushil in the police lockup for 2 days. So was it legal for the police to detain him? Does it violate the D.K. Basu's guidelines? So for this the answer is yes. He cannot keep Sushil in jail because he was not the accused person. Shanti was having Shanti was being claimed for so here Shanti was accused for stealing the chain. So Sushil was completely innocent. He went to the S.I. Rao to just and pleaded him to release his sister. But instead of releasing Shanti, or he should give away the proper answer, instead of that, S.I. Rao has put Sushil into jail. Not even he has put him into jail, he also beaten him up. So according to the D.K. Basu guidelines, it is completely wrong. Without any charges, the S.I. Rao could not keep Sushil in the jail. Nextly, he should be represented within 24 hours in the front of magistrate. So again the second thing was also violated, and even he was not given any kind of memo, or he was not informed for what reason he was being arrested. So many guidelines that was being mentioned by the D.K. Basu was violated by S.I. Rao. Second question we are having, did S.I. Rao do enough question witness and compile evidences before arresting Shanti and filing a case against her? In keeping with the duties of police as stated above, what else do you think S.I. Rao could have done as part of his investigation? So here also, no, the questions or the interrogation in proper way, you can say the S.I. Rao's interrogation was completely wrong, because he has not interrogated properly. Mr. Shinde, whatever he has informed to S.I. Rao, he just heard it and went to his home, collected the evidences, that is 10,000 rupees, and directly he has written the FIR against the Shanti and informed her that he is going to keep this 10,000 rupees and evidences, though he has not got any of the chain, and even he could interrogate well from where this 10,000 rupees Shanti got, from there only he could know in better way whether this 10,000 the Shanti was, what was she was having, that from where she got, whether the chain was sold out, or it is the earning of both brother and sister. From there itself SI Rao was able to solve out the case, but he has not done his duty properly. He didn't heard both the side, he didn't interrogate it properly. And one more thing, like when the Sushil came to know that the Inspector Sharma has busted the boys gang, if SI Rao has interrogated the neighborhood also, they would came to know about the neighborhood's jewelry theft also, and from there only they could have arrested the main accused persons who have really done all this thing. But he has not done that thing, and because of the not proper interrogation that was not been done by the SI Rao, the problems were faced by both brother and sister, that is by Sushil and the Shanti. She got acquitted after 1 year by all the charges she was being blamed or claimed on. It took 1 year to get away the justice. Now she was not, for 1 year she has not worked anywhere, and his brother was being beaten up, kept in the jail. So many things they have faced. So this could not be faced by them if the SI Rao has done his duty properly. Now let us take a slight different scenario. Shanti and her brother Sushil go to the police station to complain that Mr. Shinde's 20-year-old son had stolen rupees 15,000 that they had been saving up. Do you think that the officer in charge of police station will promptly lodge an FIR? List a few factors that in your opinion may influence the decision of police to register or not register an FIR. So here most probably our answer would be that the SI Rao would not write down the complaint, as the Shanti and Sushil is domestic worker. They are not going to, the police is not going to hear. And even because Mr. and Mrs. Shinde belongs to the richest family, one of the richest family, then this claim could not be digested by the police officers. So they are not going to write down the complaint, or they are not going to lodge any FIR. If you are having any other answers, then please write down in FNB what would be the other scenario or situation in such case. You can answer by yourself. This was my point of view. You can answer with your point of view also. Now next thing that we are going to learn about is FIR, that is first information report. In this video we came to know about the police duty and what he has to do when he is arresting a person. Complete the worksheet up to here. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.